All right, my grandma says she likes this hoodie, so I'm sticking with the hoodie.
The last 6 months, if you have 60 seconds, I'd like to share the idea with you.
In 1624, the Dutch came to the U.S. and founded New Amsterdam, which would later be turned into New York City as we know it today. They chose this area as a symbolic foundation to the financial district of the U.S., and geographically, it was in the heart of where all the colonies were. In 1790, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison struck a deal for the U.S. government to assume debt from the Revolutionary War and to move the U.S. capital to where it is now in Washington, D.C. As a result of this deal, Alexander Hamilton was the first Secretary of Treasury for the United States. The assumption of debt established the U.S. creditworthiness, which created the first bank of the U.S. to manage fiscal policy and stabilize the currency, and domestic manufacturing through tariffs, economic policy aiming to make the U.S. less dependent on foreign goods. Hamilton really paved the way for U.S. groundwork for investments, creditworthiness, government bonds, and public confidence in the U.S. financial system. And 2 years later, in 1792, there was a bill passed called the Buttonwood Agreement, establishing order of chaos, essentially. This brought structure to securities and trust to the securities traded in New York City, and this eliminated the role of auctioneers who were seen as contributing to the market's instability. This really created a panic in 1792. There was speculation at risk leading to investments involving government securities. Speculator William Dewar's default on loans led to widespread panic, causing sharp declines in securities and loss in confidence from investors. In response to this, 24 brokers created a formal agreement that would lay foundations for structured trading practices. In 1867 is when the first stock ticker was introduced. It was introduced by Edward Callahan, who was actually the inventor of the telegraph. He combined this technology to create the stock ticker, which would deliver stock prices more efficiently. It would do this by creating a tick on a sheet of paper every time the price would go up or the price would go down, which this really helped fuel the trust of the New York Stock Exchange, or the Butterwood Agreement. 2 years after Alexander Graham patented the phone in 1878, the phone was installed in the New York Stock Exchange. Brokers to speak more directly to clients, offering faster communication and faster trading executions. In December 15th, 1886, it was the first million share traded day. This represented technical progress, growing public participation in financial markets, and was driven by greater access to financial news and quotes. In 1903, the New York Stock Exchange opened, offering a trading floor for everybody to meet at a more centralized location. Fast forward to 1922, the Wall Street edition was added. This increased the floor space and accommodation to the growing number of traders. In the 1930s, they really emphasized having a better trading system. They brought more order and coordination on the chaotic floor. They would have horseshoe-shaped trading posts. It wasn't until 1970 that the trading post was redesigned for the explicit growth and volume that was being added to the stock market. And they modernized the trading floor with a lot more technology and new mechanisms that they were able to contribute. In 1996, it was like the first telephone, so they can move from spot to spot. And it allowed up to a minute market information, so it wasn't as precise as it is today. In 2005, the New York Stock Exchange introduced hybrid markets, which combined the traditional open outcry floor trading and automated electronic trading system. This allowed faster execution, price discovery process through trading floor, and bidding of both those worlds. In 2006, they merged with Archipelago. It was the first all-electronic stock exchange for the United States. This merge created a fully electronic component alongside the traditional New York Stock Exchange floor. ICE, which is the Intercontinental Exchange, purchased the New York Stock Exchange in 2013. This acquisition by ICE really drove futures trading, commodities trading, and over-the-counter trading. ICE is still holding the New York Stock Exchange today, and that is how we got Jordan Belfort. I'm a freaking wizard at freaking stocks, dude. Even though I lost $500 the other day, not gonna talk about that. But yeah, I like to think I'm pretty good.